Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the Swiss Wednesday Night NBA. We got 9 games on the board, and I'm going through most of them. I think I only skipped 2. Yeah, I only skipped 2, so I'm going to go through 7 of them. As far as Tuesday night, as of right now, I'm 2-1. My top bet was the Pacers that hit. I wish I took the money line, though. I took the points. So the top bet was Pacers that hit. I also hit on the Spurs, but I lost on the Wizards. So I'm 2-1. Last bet remaining is my parlay, Knicks and Clippers. So I need the Clips to hold on and win outright. So we'll see on that. But overall, we've already clinched a winning night. So yeah, Wednesday, 9 games on the board. Let's do it.
Welcome to the Swiss. The Swiss. Hey, get the Swiss.
First up, we got Toronto on the road in Detroit here. Pistons laying 2 points at home. The total sitting at 233.5. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet, and according to the model, we should see a 2-point Pistons win. So model has this one pretty on point with the sports books here. Final score 116-114 Detroit. Injuries and inactives, and we'll start on the Raps side, and there's just a ton of names on the report here. Boucher's out. RJ Barrett out. Scotty Barnes is still out. Jakob Poeltl's still out. DJ Carton is out. Gary Trent listed as questionable. Emmanuel Quickley listed as questionable. So Raptors really banged up right now. On the Pistons side, we do have one name on the report, and it's an important one. Ausar Thompson listed as questionable for this game. Other than that, Pistons should be at full strength, though. Betting trends on the Toronto side, Raps are just 2-5 against the spread in their last 7 overall. They are 4-1 against the spread in their last 5 on the road, though. So the Raps have been covering on the road. On the Detroit side, Detroit is 18-8 against the spread in their last 26. Pistons have been covering 10-4 against the spread in their last 14 at home. This particular head-to-head matchup has been all Pistons. Check this out. Raptors 2-10 against the spread in their last 12 meetings against the Pistons. 0-6 against the spread in their last 6 trips out to Detroit. 2-4 straight up in those 6 trips. So the Pistons usually beat the Raptors outright here in Detroit. Trends for the total on the Toronto side, 5-3 to the over in their last 8, 18-6 to the over in the last 24 on the road. Pistons 3-1 to the over in their last 4, but they're 3-8 to the under in their last 11 at home. This particular head-to-head matchup has been leaning towards the over. 4-2 to the over in the last 6 meetings, 4-2 to the over in the last 6 meetings in Detroit. So let's match these two teams up on the court. We'll start with some overall net efficiency numbers here. You can see in the last 10 games, these two teams, as far as efficiency goes, have been pretty even. 23rd and 24th in the NBA. Strength of schedule is pretty close too. 15th for the Pistons, 20th for the Raptors. Look at the pace though. Toronto's been running a very fast pace. They're 5th in the last 10 games, 13th for the Pistons, but check this out. When I switch it to the last 5 games, Detroit's up at 3rd in the NBA in pace. So both these teams running a really fast pace. That's not necessarily good news for the Pistons because the Raptors have been excellent against teams that run a fast pace. On the season, Toronto's 9-3 against the spread against the top teams in pace. And at the current total, 233, the over would have hit in 9 out of 12 also. So I actually already bet the over. I got in at the over at 233. I put it in the Discord, put a small bet down on the over here. So Raptors 9-3 against the spread in these spots against fast-paced teams. Want to know how Detroit has performed against fast-paced teams? 2-9 against the spread against top 5 teams in pace. So right off the bat, we're leaning towards Toronto and we're leaning towards an over before we even get started. When we look at the matchup for the Raps offense and pull up the 4 factors here, really nothing jumps out. Detroit's defense does have the rebounding edge, 8th to 22nd in the last 10. So really not much here. You can look at the free throw rate. Raptors not usually a team that's able to get to the free throw line, but they might be able to in this one because Detroit can't really stop fouling right now. But as a whole, really nothing here. Obviously, I mentioned the pace, so we definitely got to take a look at numbers in transition here. Raptors on the season 1st in fast break frequency. Nobody has run the fast break more often than the Toronto Raptors this year. 12th in efficiency. They actually lead the NBA in transition points per game. The Pistons actually have decent defensive numbers against the fast break this season, though. 6th in frequency, 17th in efficiency. They're 9th in the NBA in points per game allowed in transition. Toronto, though, on the season, still 12-8 against the spread against top 10 defenses in transition points per game allowed. So the Raptors run a great fast break, but even when they play a good fast break defense, they still have covered the number at a high rate. Shot zones for the Raptors offense. Obviously, we have to look at the basket. That's what Toronto does. They attack the rim. In the last 10 games, they're 3rd in frequency, 5th in efficiency. Scoring at the basket is the bread and butter of this Raptors offense, or at least it has been recently. Pistons defensive numbers at the basket not looking great. 12th in frequency, 26th in efficiency. So, I mean, they've done a decent job of limiting shot attempts down there, but as a whole, this has not been a great team defensively protecting the basket. So, Toronto should be able to score down there. In fact, I kind of like the matchup for Toronto overall, Toronto's offense, I should say, on paper. It's just a matter of who's going to be on the court with all those injuries. On the other side of the court, we got the Pistons offense, and again, really not much to take away here from the main four factors in the last 10 games. Offensive rebounding rate, Pistons actually have the rebounding edge, even though they're 20th in the last 10 games. Toronto's defense just cannot keep their opponents off the offensive glass, so Pistons should get some second chance opportunities. The turnovers, Pistons have struggled to protect the basketball. Free throw rate, both these teams have been good. Both these units have been good. So, yeah, really kind of an even matchup here. Shot zones for the Pistons offense, not much here either. They've been attacking the rim less and taking more of the short mid-range shot. In the last 10 games, they're 6th in frequency, 7th in efficiency from 8 to 12 feet. Raptors defensively against that zone, I mean, pretty average. 6th in frequency, 21st in efficiency. They're 14th in field goals made allowed in the last 10 games. So, from that zone, I'm sorry. So, this is a really tough game to handicap. As far as betting it, I'd lean Raptors, but with all the injuries, I don't think I could actually do that. I already have a few dollars on the over. I got in at 233. So I'm comfortable with that ticket. I think probably just going to rock with the over on this one. Next game. Brooklyn on the road in Orlando. Magic laying 6.5 points at home. The total sitting at 205. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet. And according to the model, we should see a 7-point Orlando win. Final score 110-103 Magic. Injuries and inactives, and we'll start with Brooklyn. Just one name on the report for the Nets, Cam Johnson, and he's actually listed as probable. So it looks like the Nets are going to be at full strength for this one. And on the Orlando side, we have the exact same thing. Actually, nobody on the report for the Magic. So it looks like both of these teams are going to be at full strength for this game. Before we get into this one, I want to point out that both of these teams are rested. Both teams coming into this game on 2 days rest. Brooklyn on the season with 2 days rest, 4-4 straight up, 5-4-2 against the spread on 2 or 3 days rest. So, I mean, they've been okay. But look at the Orlando side. Orlando on 2 days rest, just 4-6 straight up. So Orlando actually hasn't been that good when rested. So I guess that'd be a slight angle for the Nets, but take it or leave it. Betting trends on the Brooklyn side. Nets 4-3 against the spread in their last 7 overall. They're just 2-6 against the spread in their last 8 on the road, though. And on the season, they're 9-14 against the spread as road dogs. On the Orlando side, some really nice looking trends here. Orlando 5-2 against the number in their last 7, 7-2 against the number in their last 9, 13-3 against the spread as home favorites. That's the big one. Magic laying points at home has been money this year. This particular head-to-head matchup, Brooklyn's 3-1 against the number in their last 4 meetings against Orlando, but they're just 3-5 against the spread in their last 8 trips to Orlando. So basically the home team has had the advantage in this matchup. Trends for the total, we got conflicting ones here. So on the Brooklyn side, it's been all overs. 6-1 to the over in the last 7 Nets games, 3-0 to the over in their last 3 on the road. But on the Orlando side, it's been all unders. 1-8 to the under in their last 9, 0-4 to the under in their last 4 at home. So conflicting there. This particular matchup has tilted towards the under, though. 2-4 to the under in their last 6, 3-5 to the under in their last 8 in Orlando. So let's match these two teams up on the court. We'll start with some net efficiency numbers. Kind of similar here. Nets and Magic 6th and 9th in net efficiency in the last 10 games, and both have played relatively weak schedules. Brooklyn 25th in strength of schedule in the last 10, Orlando at 30th. So both playing good basketball, but both have played a weak schedule. So both probably on the overvalued side. As far as pace, both these teams running a snail pace right now. In the last 10 games, Brooklyn 27th in pace, Orlando 29th. And that's really good news for Orlando. Magic 11-4 against the spread against teams in the bottom 5 of pace. So they played very well against teams that run slow paces. On the Brooklyn side, against those same bottom 5, 5-7-1 against the spread. So kind of lean in Orlando before we start here, simply for the fact that both these teams run extremely slow paces right now. Let's take a look at the matchup for Brooklyn's offense, and based on these numbers, you got to give the edge to Orlando's defense here, specifically rebounding and turnovers. I mean, EFG 10th and 19th, that's a mismatch too, but look at rebounding and turnovers. Orlando is not going to let you get second chance points on them. They're also really good at forcing turnovers, and the Nets have struggled to protect the basketball a little bit, 21st in the last 10 games. When we look at shot zones for the Nets offense, it gets interesting here. Brooklyn's been attacking the rim a lot recently, which is completely different than what the Nets have been doing all season. In the last 10 games, Brooklyn's 5th in shot frequency at the basket. So the Nets have been attacking the basket. Unfortunately, they haven't been very efficient down there, just 22nd in efficiency. That's kind of a perfect matchup for the Magic defense. They're 29th in frequency at the rim, meaning they allow a lot of attempts down there, but 4th in efficiency. So what the Magic do is they force you inside, force you to take contested layups, And this is a Nets team that takes a lot of contested layups. So not a great look for Brooklyn's offense there. On the bright side for Brooklyn's offense, they've been good as hell shooting the 3-ball recently. In the last 10 games, 5th in frequency, 4th in efficiency. This has not been the strength for Orlando defensively. They've got decent numbers in the last 10, 15th and 16th. But remember, they've played the 30th strength of schedule. They played a really easy schedule. So it's not an overwhelming mismatch, but I think it's safe to say the 3-point shot should be there for the Nets. On the other side of the court, we got Orlando's offense, and we just got two massive mismatches here jumping out at us. Look at turnovers. In the last 10 games, Brooklyn, first in forced turnover rate. Nobody has created more turnovers than the Nets defense in the last 10 games. And look at the Magic offense. They've been struggling to protect the basketball all season. In the last 10 games, they're 29th. So that's a terrible matchup for the Magic. That being said, look at free throw rate. This is an Orlando team that attacks the rim. That's what they do, attack the basket. And we'll get to that in a second in the shot zones. Look at the free throw rate, 2nd to 27th. So Orlando should have 100 free throw attempts in this game. Before we get into the shot zones, I want to pull up the numbers in transition. And this would actually be a positive angle for the Nets defense. Something Brooklyn struggled with this year is the fast break. Good news, Orlando doesn't run the fast break. In fact, on the season, they're 25th in frequency, 28th in efficiency. So that's positive for Brooklyn to be playing a team that doesn't run out in transition. Shot zones for the Magic offense. You already know we're going right to the basket here. In the last 10 games, surprise, surprise, 1st in frequency. Nobody attacks the rim as much as Orlando does. Just 18th in efficiency, which isn't great. But here's the weird thing. On the season, protecting the basket's been the strength of the Brooklyn defense, but they've just fallen off in that department. In the last 10 games, they're 24th in frequency, 17th in efficiency. And if you look even more recent than that, if you switch it over to the last 5 games, they dropped to 28th in frequency, 19th in efficiency. And that's against a weak schedule. Orlando is 18-7 against the spread against defenses in the bottom 10 of rim frequency. So when the Magic see a defense that they can get to the basket on, they usually win and they usually cover. So as far as betting this game, I don't see any reason not to take Orlando here. I mean, they should get to the rim. They should get to the foul line. They're at home laying points where they're 13-3 as home favorites. It's been an automatic spot for the Magic. In fact, I like it so much that it almost seems suspicious, the line. I guess it could be because the Nets have been playing pretty well recently. And like I said, there's always the shot that the Nets get hot from outside, in which case we're screwed. But it's definitely square, but I don't see any reason not to bet the Magic. Give me Orlando -6.5 next game. Chicago on the road in Indiana. Pacers laying 4 points at home here. Total sitting at 233.5. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet. And according to the model, we should see a 4-point Pacers win. Final score 117-113 Indiana. I actually skipped this one for now because Indiana just played a road game. In fact, they're actually still in the 4th quarter now. So Indiana just played a game in Oklahoma City last night. We'll go through this game on the live show at 4 p.m., but I haven't gotten to take a look at it yet. Next, Denver on the road in Miami to play the Heat. Miami catching 3 points at home, total sitting at 214.5. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet and check this out. According to the model, Miami should win outright. Final score 113-112 Heat. So before we get into this one, we need to point out that this is a pretty nice looking spot for the Heat. You got Miami coming off 3 straight losses, right? 2 days rest. On the season with 2 days rest, they're 8-2 straight up. On the season, they're also 7-5 against the spread with 2 or 3 days rest. So you got a Miami team pissed off, coming off 3 straight losses, well rested at home. Betting trends on the Denver side, Nuggets are 7-3 against the number in their last 10, 5-2 against the spread in their last 7 on the road. Just 9-13-1 against the spread as road favorites this year, though. On the Miami side, the trends were looking so good for the Heat. They've dropped quickly. 1-4 against the spread in their last 5, 4-8 against the spread in their last 12 at home, 1-6 against the spread as home dogs. Wow, 1-6. In this particular head-to-head matchup, it's been all Denver. Nuggets 9-2 against the spread in their last 11 meetings against the Heat, 6-1 against the spread in their last 7 trips to Miami. So the Nuggets have had no problem going on the road down to Miami. Trends for the total, Denver is 4-1 to the over in their last 5, but they're 3-8 to the under in their last 11 on the road. Miami's been all unders, 4-13 to the under in their last 17, 4-10 to the under in their last 14 at home. This particular head-to-head matchup, though, has gone over. 5-1 to the over in the last 6 meetings, 5-2 to the over in the last 7 meetings in Miami. So let's match these teams up on the court. We'll start with some net efficiency numbers. Pretty similar here. Denver, 4th in overall efficiency. Miami, 7th. Strength of schedule, 18th and 21st. So these teams both playing good basketball. Both have played a relatively easy schedule. Pace, Denver 14th in the last 10, Miami 21st, so neither runs a particularly fast or slow pace. Really nothing to go by there. We'll start with the matchup for Denver's offense, and again, not really much to go by here. Denver the slight advantage on the boards, 16th to 22nd. Denver also the advantage in the turnover department, but Nuggets should have problems getting to the free throw line because the free throw rate 13th to 26. Really not much here. Positive angle for the Nuggets offense, they don't run the fast break much at all. And if you're wondering how that's a positive angle, because one of the Miami Heat biggest strengths this year is defending the fast break. They're 7th in frequency, 4th in efficiency. So by the Nuggets not running out in transition, they're kind of neutralizing one of the Heat biggest strengths. Shot zones for the Nuggets offense. Denver's been attacking the rim a lot recently, which is not what we were seeing from the Nuggets a month ago. In the last 5 games, they're actually first in shot frequency at the basket. That's not good on the road to Miami because Miami's been great protecting the rim. In the last 5 games, they're 5th in frequency, 4th in efficiency at the basket. In fact, on the full season, Miami is 2nd in the NBA in fewest field goals made allowed at the basket. So the Heat defense has not been getting eaten up on the inside at all. And look at this. Denver on the season against top 10 defenses at the rim, 8-17-1 against the number. So that's a really strong angle for the Heat there. The other main shot zone for the Nuggets has been that long mid-range shot, and this has been the case for a couple months now. They've been shooting a lot of these. They're 2nd in frequency, 1st in efficiency. I mean, these are Phoenix Suns mid-range shooting numbers. Heat defense against those shots, 5th in frequency, 27th in efficiency, so not really many attempts, but high efficiency. On the other side of the court, we got Miami's offense, and again, just really not much here as far as the 4 factors go. Denver's been playing some good defense. It's not really getting talked about. Nuggets are 3rd in EFG defensively in the last 10. But Miami has the edge in the turnover department. Miami should also get trips to the free throw line here, 5th to 16th. Neither of these units particularly good in the rebounding department. Shot zones for the Heat offense. We got to look at that short mid-range shot. Miami loves that shot. They're actually just 2nd in frequency, 13th in efficiency in the last 10, so maybe they're slowly moving away from it. Denver defensively against that short mid-range shot, 19th in frequency, but 7th in efficiency, so they've defended it pretty well. As far as betting this game, this is a challenging one, man. I mean, as much as I'd love to take the Heat, it's a must-win game for the Heat. It's a really nice-looking spot for Miami, but Denver seems to have just flipped the switch. They're 9-1 in their last 10, and we're all scared to bet the Nuggets on the road, right? Well, their last 3 road games, Lakers, Warriors, Blazers. Blazers aren't good, but Lakers and Warriors, they won all 3 of those games by double digits. So I'm not scared to bet the numbers on the Nuggets on the road. It would be Denver or pass for me. I don't know if I actually pull the trigger on this one. Maybe if the number gets bought down and I could get Denver like 1 or something, but Denver or pass. Next game. Charlotte on the road in Memphis. Grizzlies catching 2 points at home. The total sitting at 205.5. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet, and according to the model, we should see a 5-point Memphis win. Final score 108-103 Grizzlies. We're actually skipping this game. Prop Beaver refused to do notes on it. That's a joke. I also refuse. I mean, Memphis is playing. They're on a back-to-back. It's a pretty trash game to begin with, so we'll talk about it on the live show, but I got nothing right now. Next. Cleveland on the road in New Orleans. Pelis are laying 6.5 points at home. The total sitting at 217.5. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet, and according to the model, we should see a 7-point Pelicans win. Final score 114-107 New Orleans. Injuries and inactives, and we'll start with Cleveland, and some good news. We might get Donovan Mitchell back. He's listed as questionable. He's missed the last several games for the Cavs. So Mitchell's questionable. Mobley's still out, though. Struce still out. Dean Wade is also out, so Cleveland is by no means healthy, but getting Donovan Mitchell back would be huge. On the New Orleans side, we're looking at the same report we've seen for the last few weeks. Nobody on the report for the Pelis with the exception of Dyson Daniels, who is still out. So before we get into this one, I want to point out the spot for the Pelicans coming into this game rested, and this is another one. I feel like we've seen a couple games recently where the Pelicans came in on 2 days rest. They've won 5 of their last 6 games. On the season, New Orleans, 6-3 straight up with 2 days rest, and also with 2 or 3 days rest, 9-3 against the spread. Pelicans have been one of the best rested teams in the NBA this year, so the fact that they're coming into this one rested is a good start. Betting trends for the Cavs don't look great. Just 4-10 against the spread in their last 14, 1-4 against the spread in their last 5 on the road. On the season, they're 7-6 against the spread as road dogs. On the New Orleans side, 5-1 against the number in their last 6 overall, 12-10 against the spread as home favorites this season. This particular head-to-head matchup has been all New Orleans. Cleveland just 4-10-1 against the spread in their last 15 meetings against the Pelis, just 2-6 against the spread in their last 8 trips to New Orleans. Trends for the total, 3 straight overs for Cleveland, 3-0 to the over in their last 3, but they're 1-10 to the under in their last 11 on the road, though. On the New Orleans side, it's been all unders. 1-7 to the under in their last 8. 0-3 to the under in their last 3 at home. This particular head-to-head matchup is tilted towards the over. 4-2 to the over in the last 6 meetings. 6-2 to the over in the last 8 meetings in New Orleans. So let's match these two teams up on the court. We'll start with some overall net efficiency numbers here. As you can see, there's a pretty big discrepancy here. 2nd to 20th. You don't need an expert to tell you that New Orleans has been playing better basketball than Cleveland. Cleveland's played the slightly stronger schedule, but not much there. In the last 10 games, Cleveland's 17th in strength of schedule, New Orleans 23rd, so really nothing. Let's take a look at the matchup for the Cavs offense. Edge goes to New Orleans on this side. EFG in the last 10 games. Look at New Orleans, 2nd. Pelicans have been playing some good defense recently. Cleveland's offense back at 13th. Neither of these units particularly good on the glass, 28th to 25th. Turnover battle, Cleveland's done a good job protecting the basketball at 11th, but New Orleans pretty good about creating turnovers, so overall, good start to the handicap for the Pelicans. I gotta say, though, one angle I do like for Cleveland's offense is the fast break. On the season, the Cavs offensively are 5th in transition efficiency, so they've been very good out in the fast break. New Orleans defensively, that's something they've struggled with. On the season, 25th in frequency, 21st in points per game allowed in transition. But here's the thing. The Cavs' most important piece in the fast break is Donovan Mitchell. On the season, Donovan Mitchell is 4th in the entire NBA in transition points per game. Darius Garland is nowhere near as effective in the fast break, so does this mismatch still apply if Donovan Mitchell doesn't play? Shot zones for Cleveland's offense, and we're going to use numbers from the last 5 games so we can get an idea of what this offense looks like without Donovan Mitchell on the floor. And it's kind of the same. They're taking a ton of threes, and they're attacking the basket a lot. 10th in rim frequency in the last 5 games. That's completely fine with the Pelicans. They've been great protecting the basket. They're 7th in defensive efficiency down there. And Cleveland, like I said, they like to shoot the 3 ball as well. In the last 5 games, 1st in above the break frequency, 8th in corner 3 frequency. So they shoot a lot of threes, or they have been. Again, Pelicans are fine with that. New Orleans against the 3-point shot in the last 5 games, 7th in efficiency against above the break, 6th in efficiency against the corner. So Pelicans defense should be a really tough matchup for Cleveland, especially if Donovan Mitchell doesn't play. Something we got to mention, Cleveland is 12-7 against the spread against top 10 3-point defenses. So tough perimeter defenses haven't crushed the Cavs this season. But again, most of those games are probably with Donovan Mitchell. On the other side, we got the Pelly's offense, and Edge goes to New Orleans on this side as well. I mean, it's not overwhelming, though. As we know, Cleveland does play good defense. EFG 6th to 13th. Turnover rate 17th to 26th. So yeah, slight edge to New Orleans here. Cleveland, as we know, has played great defense and transition this season. The Pelicans really don't have much interest in the fast break. They're just 19th in frequency, 19th in efficiency. So not sure how much of a factor that is. Shot zones for the Pelly's offense is always really tough. Because New Orleans is a really balanced offense. They shoot from everywhere, but they do attack the basket a lot. In the last 10 games, they're 8th in frequency, 9th in efficiency. So getting into the rim is a big part of New Orleans' offense. That has been the strength of Cleveland's defense this whole year. In the last 10 games, though, just 8th and 15th, just 15th in efficiency down there. So as of late, the Cleveland interior defense has fallen off a bit. But, I mean, that's a small sample size compared to the entire season when Cleveland's been very good protecting the basket. So maybe Mobley being out affects that. As far as betting this game, I mean, I really don't know what to do here because obviously the handicap points to New Orleans. But if Donovan Mitchell ends up playing, the fast break should be there for Cleveland. And then all of a sudden they have a mismatch that I like for the Cavs on offense. So I'm really not comfortable just blindly laying 6.5 without knowing his status. So I'm going to say New Orleans or pass for now. This is one we're going to wait on. I'll let you know. I'll post it in the Discord. If I do pull the trigger on anything, I'll post it on the website too. But as of right now, I'm going to say New Orleans or pass. I'll let you know on the live show, 4 p.m. Eastern time, next game. Golden State on the road in Dallas. Mavs are laying 7.5 points at home. Total sitting at 237.5. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet. According to the model, we should see a 2-point Mavs win. Final score 118-116 Dallas. Injuries and inactives, and we'll start with Golden State. Steph Curry is going to miss another game. He's been ruled out. Other than that, Warriors should be good to go. On the Dallas side, we have nobody, and that has not been the case with the Mavs this year. Nobody on the injury report for the Mavs as of right now. Before we get into this one, I feel like we need to point out that this is a very favorable spot for Golden State. You got Dallas on the first leg of a back-to-back. They got Oklahoma City on deck tomorrow, so kind of a bit of a hectic travel schedule there for the Mavs. Meanwhile, Golden State, after this game, they have 2 full days off. So 2 full days to rest after this one. So I like the spot for the Warriors a lot before we even get started. Betting trends for Golden State look great on the road. 9-1 against the spread in their last 10 on the road. 10-5 against the spread as road dogs this season. On the Dallas side, Mavs are 11-5 against the spread in their last 16. Just 4-8 against the spread in their last 12 at home, though. On the season, they're just 10-12 against the spread as home favorites. This particular head-to-head matchup has been all Mavs. Golden State just 1-5 against the spread in their last 6 meetings against Dallas, 3-9 against the spread in their last 12 trips to Dallas. Trends for the total, Golden State has been all unders. 2-9 to the under in their last 11, 1-9 to the under in their last 10 on the road. On the Dallas side, they are 5-3 to the over in their last 8, 3-9 to the under in their last 12 at home, though. This particular head-to-head matchup, though, always seems to go over. 6 straight overs in Warriors-Mavs games, 11-2 to the over in their last 13 meetings in Dallas. So this head-to-head matchup has been all overs. So let's match these two teams up on the court. We'll start with some net efficiency numbers. Pretty close here. Golden State 10th in overall efficiency, Dallas 12th, so pretty close. But look at the strength of schedule. Golden State 27th in the last 10, Dallas is 12th. So yeah, maybe efficiency-wise, raw efficiency data, these teams look pretty close in the last 10 games, but Dallas is doing it against a much stronger schedule. Let's take a look at the matchup for Golden State offensively, and the Warriors do have the shooting edge here, EFG 17th to 28th, but keep in mind, these are numbers from the last 10 games, and we just pointed out, Dallas has played a much stronger schedule than Golden State has. So overall, I think it's a wash on this side. Dallas has really struggled defensively, but I don't trust the Warriors offense at all right now. The good news for the Warriors offense is they don't attack the rim much at all, and that's been the strength of Dallas defense. In the last 10 games, they're 5th in frequency, 12th in efficiency, protecting the basket. Golden State just 25th in shot frequency down there. So the strength of the Dallas defense might be negated in this one. And I have some more good news for the Golden State offense. A shot they've been taking a lot of, mid-range shot. In the last 10 games, they're 11th in frequency from the short mid-range, 10th in frequency from the long mid-range. Look at Dallas defensive numbers against the mid-range shot in the last 10. 28th against the short mid-range, 30th against the long mid-range. So that's a positive angle for Golden State. Also, as we know, the Warriors offense takes a ton of above the break threes. They're first in frequency from that zone in the last 10 games, just 16th in efficiency. And that's another positive because Dallas in that same span, 12th in frequency and 22nd in efficiency. But look what happens when we switch it from the last 10 games to the last 5 games, and we get a peek of what Golden State's offense looks like without Steph Curry on the court. They drop to 7th in frequency, 23rd in efficiency. And look at Dallas defense against that shot in the last 5 games, 4th and 8th. So if you use a more recent sample size, Dallas should actually lock the three-point shot down here. On the other side of the court, we got the Mavs offense, and Golden State definitely has the rebounding edge here. In the last 10 games, 5th to 24th for the Mavs offense. So probably not going to be any second chance points here for Dallas, but after that, Dallas does a great job protecting the basketball. One of the Warriors' strengths is creating turnovers. Probably not going to happen here. Also, Dallas does a good job getting to the free throw line. Golden State hasn't seen many of those teams recently, so I like that matchup for Dallas as well. Another positive angle for the Mavs offense, the fast break. Dallas on the season, 10th in frequency, 9th in efficiency. Fast break is a big part of the Mavs offense. That's been something Golden State struggled with all year. They're 24th in frequency, 22nd in efficiency. In the NBA this year, they're 26th in points per game allowed in transition. Dallas on the season, 9-2 against the spread against bottom 5 defenses in transition points per game allowed. So the Mavs have feasted when they've played these bad fast break defenses. Shot zones for the Dallas offense, you already know where we're looking here. Dallas relies on the jump shot. They have all year. On the last 10 games, they're 4th in frequency from the long mid-range, 7th in frequency from the above the break 3, 8th in frequency from the corner. Now, Golden State does have good numbers against the corner 3 and the long mid-range shot, but those two combined only account for 25% of the Mavs shot attempts. The real question is the above the break 3, because that shot alone accounts for 32% of the Dallas shot attempts in the last 10 games. And that's where we find a mismatch. Mavs in the last 10 from above the break, 7th in frequency, 8th in efficiency. Golden State in the last 10, 26th and 18th. So the three-point shot should definitely be there for Dallas. And it gets worse. Look what happens when I switch it from the last 10 games to the last 5 games. Look at Golden State's defensive numbers against that zone. 30th and 28th. Warriors are getting cooked from out there. So yeah, I don't like this matchup for the Warriors at all. Safe to say Dallas is definitely the move here. The question is, are we down to pull the trigger on this one and lay 7.5 points in a really nice looking spot for Golden State? 2 days rest after this. Dallas has OKC tomorrow on TNT, national TV game. So I hate the spot for Dallas, but there's no way I'll bet Golden State here. I'll let you know on the live show if I pull the trigger on it, but as of right now, it's Dallas or pass for me. Next game. Atlanta on the road in Portland. Blazers catching 1.5 points at home. Total sitting at 218.5. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet, and according to the model, we should see a 5-point Hawks win. Final score 114-109 Atlanta. Injuries and inactives, and we'll start with the Hawks. Trae Young is still out for the Hawks. Okongwu is still out for the Hawks. Jalen Johnson is going to miss another game for the Hawks, so Atlanta nowhere near healthy right now, but neither is Portland. Blazers still missing Brogdon, still missing Sharp, Still missing Walker. Jeremy Grant's listed as questionable, so Portland's really banged up. This is a couple really injured teams here. Before we get into this one, we need to point out that this is definitely a favorable spot for Atlanta. You got the Hawks coming into this game on 2 days rest, and check this out. On the season, the Hawks are 8-3 straight up, 7-6 against the spread with 2 or 3 days. 8-3 straight up on 2 days rest, 7-6 against the spread on 2 or 3 days rest. I'm sorry. There's not many positive trends for the Hawks this season, but rested, they've been pretty good. Meanwhile, Portland on a first leg of a back-to-back. They got the Knicks tomorrow night, so definitely like the spot for Atlanta before we get started. Betting trends for the Hawks, 3-1 against the spread in their last 4, 4-8 against the spread as road favorites this year, though. On the Portland side, they are 5-2 against the number in their last 7, but 2-9 against the spread in their last 11 at home. On the season, they're 12-15 against the spread as home dogs. This particular head-to-head matchup is definitely tilted towards Portland. Hawks are just 1-4-1 against the spread in their last 6 trips out to Portland. Trends for the total, Atlanta's been all unders. 2-8 to the under in the last 10 Hawks games, but Portland's been trending towards the over. 8-4 to the over in their last 12, 6-3 to the over in their last 9 at home. This particular head-to-head matchup, also overs. 6-2 to the over in the last 8. 4-1 to the over in the last 5 in Portland. So let's match these two teams up on the court. And we'll start with some overall net efficiency numbers. Obviously, Atlanta's been playing better basketball than Portland, 11th to 22nd in net efficiency in the last 10. That being said, Portland has played the stronger schedule, 13th in the last 10 compared to 24th for the Hawks. Pace-wise, these two teams are about even, 20th and 22nd in the last 10, so neither of these teams run a particularly fast or slow pace. We'll start with the matchup for the Hawks offense, and Atlanta definitely has the edge on this side of the court. Look at the rebounding discrepancy, 3rd to 24th. Hawks should definitely get second chance opportunities here. Hawks should definitely get plenty of trips to the free throw line because Portland just cannot stop fouling. They're 30th in defensive free throw rate in the last 10 games. I will say, though, Portland should be able to rip some turnovers in this game. That's something the Blazers have done well this entire season, regardless of who's been hurt. In the last 10, they're second in forced turnover rate compared to 19th for the Hawks offense. So there is something there for Portland. Numbers in transition, I mean, Portland's been a mess defensively against the fast break. On the season, they're 29th in frequency, 26th in efficiency. That being said, Atlanta not really equipped to exploit it. Just 16th and 23rd for the fast break for the Hawks. So I guess that's a positive angle for Atlanta, but not much. Shot zones for the Hawks offense, that's kind of tough because Atlanta's been pretty balanced. They've been taking shots from everywhere. If you had to zero in on one zone where they free get the most, you could look at the interior. In the last 10 games, they're 11th in frequency at the rim, 10th in frequency from the short mid-range in the paint. So Hawks do attack the interior a lot. That's a positive angle for the Hawks because Portland's been terrible protecting the basket this whole season. In the last 10 games, they're dead last in defensive efficiency at the basket. That being said, they have guarded that short mid-range shot well. They're actually first against that shot, which doesn't even make sense. How could you be the worst rim defense in the NBA in the last 10, but the best defense against the 8 to 12 footer? Yeah, makes sense of that. On the other side of the ball, we got Portland's offense, and no question the Hawks defense has the edge on this side. Atlanta's actually been low-key playing some decent defense. You can see EFG in the last 10, 14th to 24th. Hawks should also be able to create turnovers right back, 11th to 27th. That's a nice discrepancy there. Hawks don't send people to the foul line either, 9th to 23rd. The only area where Portland has the advantage here is rebounding, 1st to 23rd. So Portland should have some second chance opportunities, but that's it. And just like Portland's defense, Atlanta has also been terrible defending the fast break this year. In fact, these might be the 2 worst fast break defenses in the NBA. Atlanta, 27th in frequency, 30th in efficiency on the season. That being said, Portland doesn't have a fast break. They're 22nd in frequency, dead last in efficiency. This might be the worst fast break in basketball, so not really an angle there. Shot zones for the Blazers offense, I mean, really not much to go by here. It's been changing all season. Been kind of hard to zero in on what the Blazers' identity is offensively. In the last 10 games, they are 7th in frequency from the short mid-range shot, but Atlanta's been one of the best defenses in the NBA defending that little 8 to 12 footer, so really not much here for Portland's offense, which is why I got to take the Hawks here. I don't absolutely love the matchup for Atlanta, and I hate their current injuries, but I love the spot for them. They're rested. This Portland team isn't good, so I'll take Atlanta. I'll lay the 1.5 here. Next game. Lakers on the road in Sacramento here. Kings catching 1.5 points at home. Total sitting at 238.5. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet, and according to the model, we should see a 2-point Kings win. Final score, 118-116 Sacramento. I actually skipped this game because as I'm recording this game's going on. They're still in the third quarter. Kings are up 17. So I didn't look at this game yet. We'll go through it on the live show at 4 p.m., March Madness live show, 10:30 a.m. We're going through 16 or 17 games. If you're able to make it at both live shows, that'd be great to see you in the comments. If you want my top bets for all sports, parlays of the day, or you'd like to join our Discord, head over to KyleKirms.com. The information is right there on the homepage. Let's have ourselves a good Wednesday night. We're having a nice little start to the week here. Let's keep it rolling. Remember to bet responsibly, and I'll talk to you in the Discord.